Statement 1 says, relying on narrative structure alone, indigenous significances of 19th century San folktales are hard to determine. Statement 2 says, using their supernatural potency, benign shamans transcend the levels of the San cosmos in order to deal with social conflict and to protect material resources and enjoy a measure of respect that sets them apart from ordinary people. Statement 3 says, selected tales reveal that they deal with a form of spiritual conflict that has social implications and concern conflict between people and living or dead malevolent shamans. Now, we do have an aspect of shamans common between statement 2 and 3. Let's see the last one and then start forming connections. Meaning can be elicited and the tales contextualized by probing beneath the narrative of verbatim original language records and exploring the connotations of highly significant words and phrases. So now we get two ideas, or maybe three connections. First off, we realize that 1 and 4 are related because 1 talks about narrative structures. So does 4. We have the aspect of narratives here. But then 1 introduces an idea. Relying on narrative structures alone, indigenous significances of 19th century San folktales are hard to determine. Simplify. Relying on narrative structures alone, indigenous significances are hard to determine. So, what do we need to do? Meaning can be elicited. We have indigenous significances, significances connected with meaning, meaning can be elicited, and the tales contextualized by probing beneath the narrative of verbatim. So, narrative, depending on narrative alone, is not enough. We have to probe beneath the narrative, original language records, and exploring the connotations of highly significant words and phrases. So we realize that once 1 comes first and then comes 4. So we find first a pair in statements 1 and 4. So 1, 4 is a pair. Let's put them together. We can also clear these two statements out. Next up, we have 2 and 3, which also form a connection. The first thing that we see here is that using their supernatural potency, 2 starts with the word there. There could be connecting to two things. We could have, of course, we could have there connected with significances, but then that would break the 1-4 order. So statement 2 cannot immediately follow 1. We can eliminate that choice, that possibility. Statement 2 could immediately follow 3 because we do have shamans. So again, there could be referring to shamans. That's possible. Then again, statement 2 could be following significant words and phrases. So there, as we realize, could connect with shamans or words and phrases. So we could have 2 after 4 or 2 after 3 or 2 connected with 3 at least. Let's check with 3 once. Statement 3 says, selected tales reveal that they deal with a form of spiritual conflict that has social implications and concern conflict between people and living or dead malevolent shamans. Then we have the aspect of the benign shamans using their supernatural potency. Benign shamans transcend the levels of the San cosmos in order to deal with social conflict and to protect material resources and enjoy a measure of respect that sets them apart from ordinary people. So, we could either have, we realize that these also talk about the San cosmos, which means the San folk tales, which are introduced in 1, would take precedence in the order. So we'll have 1 4 coming in first, which means 1 4, this particular pair, is our opening two sentences. Now, after that, we could have two two possibilities. We either have 2 3, or we have 3 2, because 2 could follow 4 or 2 could follow 3. If we try the first possibility, 1 4 2 3, then we realize that 1 4 2 fits, because 2 could very well follow 4, but that would put 3 out of sequence. Let's try this. 4 says meaning can be elicited. Meaning can be elicited and the tales contextualized by probing beneath the narrative of verbatim, original language records, and exploring the connotations of highly significant words and phrases. Using their supernatural potency, benign shamans transcend the levels of the sand cosmos in order to deal with social conflict and to protect material resources and enjoy a measure of respect that sets them apart from ordinary people. After this, if we read 3, it doesn't seem to connect. It doesn't seem to fit anywhere. Selected tales reveal that they deal with, who deals with? They deal with. So we realize, is this talking about a benign shamans? Is this talking about ordinary people? Doesn't make sense. With a form of spiritual conflict. Why? Ordinary people, spiritual conflict. Benign shamans, spiritual conflict. Makes no sense. That has social implications and concern conflict between people. Again, ordinary people and people. It's a little too self-serving. It's a little too redundant. So doesn't make sense. We can eliminate that. We can eliminate the possibility that 2 3 works. And living or dead malevolent shamans. So here the change between benign shamans and malevolent shamans does not have a direct connection. Why would we shift? And who does this they refer to? So we realize that the order 2 3 doesn't get us anywhere. We'll have to eliminate this choice. Instead, let's try 3 2. If we try 3 2, we maybe can get somewhere. Selected tales. Let's read in sequence. 4 says meaning can be elicited and the tales contextualized by probing beneath the narrative of verbatim, original language records, and exploring the connotations of highly significant words and phrases. Selected tales reveal. So here we see another connection form. We have the tales contextualized mentioned in 4, after which there is 3 which says selected tales reveal that. So after we have, in a simplification, after we have the tales contextualized, some of them these tales, selected tales, would reveal that, and so on. So 3 seems to fit after 4. Let's see if 2 fits after 3. Reading 3 again. Selected tales reveal that they deal with a form of spiritual conflict. Now, again, that confusion. What does they connect with? Words and phrases. They deal with a form of spiritual conflict, which might be. They might connect with words and phrases. Form of spiritual conflict that has social implications and concern conflict between people and living or dead malevolent shamans. So here we have the aspect of shamans introduced, and then this aspect of shamans is further explored, but in a different way. There's a slight change in the argument. So here we had dead malevolent shamans, and then in 2 we had benign shamans. Using their supernatural potency, benign shamans transcend the levels of. Now, here again, what does the there refer to? Not dead malevolent shamans. No, the benign shamans are not using dead malevolent shamans. They are using still words and phrases. So, after we have the words and phrases mentioned in 4, we have 2 implementations or implications which follow. In 3, we have selected tales reveal that they deal with, so words and phrases, deal with a form of spiritual conflict, and so on till dead malevolent shamans. Using their supernatural potency, again, words and phrases, benign shamans transcend the levels of the sand cosmos in order to deal with the social conflict. Yet again, we see further connections forming. This year, by this time, all sorts of telltale lights, uh, light up for that matter. We see that deal with social conflict in this particular sequence in 3-2, deal with social conflict follows has social implications and concern conflict between people and living or dead malevolent shamans. So then again, this idea forms clearly. So we see that overall there are quite a few connections formed. So 3-2 is the right choice, which means that our final sequence becomes 1 coming in as the first statement. Then we have 4, which is our second statement. Then we have 3, the third statement. And finally, we have 2, which is the fourth and final statement. And thus, our answer, the required sequence becomes 1, 4, 3, 2.